So guys, hopefully all my slides are still available to you. Can anybody confirm? Because I just switched the window for a while. Okay, great. Thanks for replying. So guys, as I was discussing, phase one is all about little bit introduction. There are around 20 slides which we are going to cover up for the CISSP intro. And I think most of your questions will be covered up there. And then for those candidates who are real serious about it, who want to get a feel of what actually we are going to learn in this entire CISSP course, which is minimum of 40 hours. Classroom training, definitely only 40 hours. Online training may go a little bit more beyond that. So we are having two different methods of delivering training. One is the classroom training and another one is the online. Both of the batches will start from next week, right? So these all things we will be covering in this session, and thereafter I will give you a walkthrough. If you feel to join my initiative, then you can enroll yourself for the course, and then we will open the session for some question and answers. So these are the thing. This is the overall flow of the session today. A little intro about me. My name is Manoj Sharma. I am a veteran of the Indian Air Force. So I have been a soldier for 20 years and served the nation. I have, in terms of academics, certifications or degrees. Just a minute. Guys, able to hear me well? Just because there is some interruption again from network side. Anybody can confirm? Okay, thanks for confirmation. Okay guys, so a little bit intro about me. So as I told you, I am a veteran who has served the nation for 20 years, and those are the ethics I am carrying forward with me. In my career in Air Force, I have completed some academic degrees like MSc, MBA, MCA. So I have done the master degree thrice, all related to IT, because IT has been the core of all these subjects. In terms of experience, I am quite experienced in risk and compliance. I have a good understanding of network security because I have been involved with the configuration of firewalls, proxies, and those kind of things. I was also responsible for the security of all the Air Force websites, which we have as on today. There is an entire family of websites which Indian Air Force has. And obviously, since it's a government website, there are attacks from all the directions. So I have maintained that security quite well for a while, for around 2 years then. Then I have been involved in security architecture. I have implemented ISO 27000 throughout different units of Indian Air Force. And also I have conducted various audits. And training is my passion. So usually when you go and search on Google and try to see best CISSP training in Bangalore, whatever you feel like, most of the companies, I am the trainer who is providing the training in the backend. So that is one thing. And I have already trained more than 250 aspirants. And if you want to have a feel of my training style, my delivery style and all, definitely you can go to Urban Pro, search my name. You can go to Google and search my name, and you can find some review comments from the participants. I have also voluntarily contributed to many of the things during my career in Air Force. So I was involved in various flood relief kind of operations, disaster recovery operations, and also a quite active participation during Kargil War as well. Okay, and I am a known face in ISACA and ISC2 chapters as well, right? So now coming back to what I have done in terms of certifications. So as you can see my LinkedIn profile here, you can feel free to connect me over LinkedIn. You can follow me always, and all my updates will be delivered to you. I have done CISSP back in 2016. CCSP, it's a certification into cloud security. Then CRISC is a complete certification in the risk domain, and risk and information security domain. And CISM is also a certification for managers. How do they implement the security program in the company, and what KPIs, KRIs to set, and maintain that in a good state as well. So that is about CISM. Then CH, I hope all of you already know. ISMS, ISO 27000, all of you may be knowing about it. Then I have done PCI DSS as well. Those merchants or those companies or those vendors who are involved in transaction of in transactions which pertains to credit card data, they have to get compliant with PCI DSS. So that's a very good framework. I have complete understanding of that, and I hope during my entire discussion we will be covering a particular subject with different framework angles as well, right? Then I have done DCPP, which is DSCI initiative. It's a privacy certification, and a really good certification from Indian perspective, and quite good certification as well. So that I have covered, I think 2 years back now. Then COBIT 2019, COBIT has been updated to 2019 last year, and they have moved away from COBIT 5 to COBIT 2019. When I say moved away, it's not that COBIT 5 is still not applicable. Many companies are following it, but in COBIT 2019, they have made it more general in nature, right? So that's a great understanding when we will be delivering on security governance, how the entire framework works. I hope I'm the best person to give you entire picture how actually the everything is laid out. Then guys, I have done data privacy and GDPR certification as well. So this is a short introduction about me, and let's proceed with few other things as well. Again, I am repeating some of the housekeeping things here. I hope now all of you are aware, and we are all adhering to that. Okay. Now, topic for today is CISSP. Certified Information System Security Professional, right? So which is the organization who is hosting this? That is ISC Square. And ISC Square is a known profitable organization. It's not for profit at all, and it is maintaining this certification. Not only this certification, various other certifications as well. And it is renowned for its the way it is maintaining these certifications, and that is why CISSP is considered one of a big thing in the information security world. Let's get ahead and understand. Let's try to understand the eligibility, CISSP eligibility. So in terms of eligibility, if you are aspiring for CISSP, you should be having 5 years of security experience in any of two domains of the CBK, the common body of knowledge, which is being published by ISC Square. So what are these domains? Do not stress too much. We are going to cover up in the coming slides. So that is one of the minimum requirement, 5 years of security experience. Next is, we must agree and adhere to the formal code of ethics. ISC Square has some very good ethics which we have to accept before we are applying for the endorsement or those kind of things. So that is something which we need to complete. 1 year experience can be weaved off with a 4-year college degree if you are not completely having 5 years of experience, and you do hold a 4 years degree like BTech or something like that. You can apply for a waiver of 1 year. Okay, and if in case you are already certified in some other certification from ISC Square as well, then you at all don't need all these things. you just based on your previous certification, they are going to make you eligible for this certification. Okay. So this is for the peoples who are already experienced at it, who have the required security experience. Okay. But it's not only limited to them. Those candidates who are quite fresh in the security parlance, who are kind of new into it, they can also go for CISSP certification, right? However, they will not be provided with the certification. They will be provided with the designation of ISA2 associate, and in the coming 6 years they can every year on the portal they can feed in their experience and all. So once the 5 years period is complete, they will be provided with CISSP designation there. Okay, so nothing to worry about it. It's also having the same weightage kind of thing, because you can mention that in your resume and it provides you a lot of value for that, right? And few more things we need to cover. The associate of ISC2 is an alternative to normal certification process, which I just told you. Those people who don't have the required experience, they can go for ISC2 associate certification. Exam is same. All the things are same. Questions are the same. Only thing is, if you do your complete your CISSP, you have the required experience, you will get a certification directly. Otherwise, you will get a letter from ISC Square saying you have the ISC2 associate membership as of now. And in terms of entitlement, you will be entitled for entire plethora of services which they provide. So nothing to worry, nothing to lose heart here. Right? It's a good thing to start your career with CISSP, and if you have it, people will always look at you from a different angle. Now, a very valid question is why at all I should go for CISSP. First and foremost, it's going to provide you a enhanced credibility. Once you have the CISSP designation associated with you, your leadership in the company, they look at you with high respect because they understand this is the person who understands the technology well, who has the required experience, and then he also understands the business well. Now, in today's world, the biggest challenge for any company is there are people who are quite skilled, which are really skilled, but they do not have the business sense. We need a guy who really have the business sense and who also have a technology competency as well. So both of the things, if combined, that is a perfect match for a security manager out there in any company, or a security advisor, or a security consultant. Okay. In case you are not planning for this certification as well, I would definitely say even then you should go for this training. Why? Because there is a lot of things we are going to cover in terms of knowledge. When a particular person finishes his CISSP training or is finished with the CBK, then nothing is left out. Each and every corner of security is already discussed here. So if you want to enhance your overall understanding of security, this is the best certification. Okay. Then it opens your path. Once you are certified, it opens your path for the executive designations. That means for manager, advisor, and all those higher designations as well. Even you can reach up to CISO after you have your CISSP designation, because that is a kind of trademark which is there on you, right? Obviously, CISSPs are given higher salaries when compared to normal peoples who have the required experience, but they do not hold a CISSP designation. So that is why nowadays, whenever you go for any recruitment kind of thing, any job portal and all, each and every post they require CISSP/CISM and these kind of certification. So your resume will be highly shortlisted as the moment you are putting in there. Then higher salaries, as we have already discussed, and you will also be getting a lot of discounts a lot of learning discount, lot of textbooks discount from ISC Square once you are the member for them. And also you can contribute to the community by through means of white papers and those kind of stuff. So that's very interesting to see. Now exam is what the hindrance for us to get this particular certification. Let us try to understand this overall exam, what it is all about. So prior to 2017, I believe, this exam was 6 hours exam. When I completed my CISSP, it was a 6 hours exam, and it was a very, very intensive exam. Now the same exam has been, what you say, it is compressed within 3 hours, and number of questions has been reduced. Also, they have come up with a new concept, which I will be talking in just few other slides. Let me cover up things here on this slide. Okay, so there are 100 to 150 questions out here. When we say 100 to 150, what does that mean, right? So as there is a algorithm which is running in the backend, whatever answer you give for a question, that will decide your next question. So that kind of algorithm is there, which is implemented from ISC Square. So many people, I used to get a feedback, sir, I completed only 105 questions and I was declared as passed, right? However, for some people, it may take even longer. It may take 130, 140, 145 questions as well. So if you, while attending the paper, you are not declared as passed at 110 questions, nothing to dishearten yourself. Keep continuing. Sometimes even at 140 questions also, I have seen people declared as pass. So it is all the algorithm which is running in the backend. Then all the questions, their format is MCQ, or there will be advanced innovative questions, which we will be discussing a little bit further, right? They also called as research questions. Okay, when I talk about MCQs, this also include other type of questions also, like drag and drop and match the column, those kind of questions as well. Okay, and there are some 25 questions which are purely focused on research purpose. But guys, you know what, you will not be able to identify those questions. So for you, you have to treat it as a real exam. Those 25 questions which will not be counted against your scoring, they will not be graded questions, but at the same time you will not be able to differentiate those. So don't get disheartened if for a while, for a particular session in the exam that is not going good for us, there may be chance that you are facing those research questions out there. Okay, so nothing to dishearten in that sense. Passing grade is 700 out of 1000. They have their own scale. You don't need to worry about that scale. That is something which happens automatically. You don't need to focus actually in that area. Your focus should be, I have to score more than 70%, right, before I appear for the exam. Obviously, we are in India. Hindi is not the preferred language in CISSP, so all of us has to go with English, even though for other countries, they have this exam in other languages as well. Okay. Once you are prepared for it, you need to go ahead and book your exam dates, and you can only book it through Pearson VUE testing centers only. Not all the centers are having the privilege to host the CISSP certification exam. For example, here in Bangalore, there are only 2 centers which can act as your testing centers. So you need to search for that, which you can search by going on the Pearson site and or even on ISC website. They have the link and wherein you can search for. Guys, this certification exam is costing $699 US, and in India you have to pay GST as well. So I would say from Indian perspective, this will come around 53,000 somewhere in terms of expenditure. Now what happens once you book your exam and you are stuck up with some project related thing, you are too much bugged up with that, or you have some family commitment, then you can go for rescheduling the exam, which will be costing you $50, right? And even if at some point of time, unfortunately, you decide to cancel the exam for now, it will cost you $100. So these are some of the expenditures which you have to incur in case there is a change in the exam. Now, overview of the CISSP exam. Many people, they feel CISSP is too much into hacking. We are going into technologies inside and all. No, guys, that's a myth. Many people have this kind of misconception. I am always, I always encounter those kind of questions. CISSP exam focuses on the management point, because after doing CISSP, sorry about that, sir. After CISSP, the company will look at you from a management perspective. They will understand this is the person who understands the technology well, or who can perform well, who can lead the team, who can give the right direction to the team, who can give the right advice to the team. So that is how the CISSP is designed. Based on that, do not go too technical in the CISSP exam. Do not go too technical into the thing. That is one of the mistake which many people does, especially people from technical background. They have a tendency to go and dig into one particular aspect. As a famous saying in CISSP, we say that CISSP is 1 inch deep and a mile wide. That means there is a lot of things to cover. So we can't afford to dig each and every area too much into depth. So that is the overall thing which we will understand. You will need to be familiar with every domain. That is what it means. All I will go ahead and show you what is the exam weightage for each and every domain. There are total 8 domains in CISSP, and really, if you look at them, you will understand that we cannot afford not reading any of the domain and preparing 5 domains, leaving 3 domains, and going and appearing for the exam. No, not going to work that way. So that's very important. Then CISSP exam format has changed from linear to cap. I have already discussed with you. We are going to discuss more on that in a while from now. Okay. Guys, there is a call. Guys, can you just confirm me over a chat if my voice and other things are well heard to you? All things going well? Okay, great. Thanks for confirmation. Okay, so let's proceed further with this session. Most of the question on the CISSP exam are 4 options. As I told you, there will be multiple choice questions. There will be drag and drop questions, and there will be sometime match the column kind of questions. So you have to make a proper match of that. So these are the only formats of question which you will be facing in the CISSP exam. Other thing I think not mentioned on the slide is, in CISSP question, sometimes you may have a big scenario which is given to you, and sometimes we are getting little worried about why this much big scenario. So if such a big scenario comes to you, go through it carefully, because this particular scenario is not just for one particular question. They may give you one scenario and there may be then 5 to 6 questions based on that. So that is one thing. Another thing which we have to focus on, as and when you find such type of big questions, I would always recommend you that you go and read the questions first. So before even reading the scenario, you will be able to identify actually what I am going to look at into this particular scenario. So those are the tricks which we will cover subsequently in my training as well. Then guys, I told you the exam pattern has changed. Earlier it was a linear exam for 6 hours, highly competitive and really sometimes too much exhaustive for everyone. Now they have reduced this time frame to 3 hours. Now in the CAT format, which is the new format, which is called as computerized adaptive testing. In this, what happens is there is a algorithm which is working in the backend. As soon as you are answering a particular question, the algorithm will evaluate your understanding on that particular subject. If it requires further validation of your understanding, it may give you another question which is kind of linked to that, or even go 1 inch more into depth for the same subject. Or else, if it finds that you have the right understanding of the subject, it may switch over to another topic, or it may bring in a easy question for you, right? So this is how it goes on. As you answer all the question rightly, slowly it is going to raise the bar for you, and it is going to give you some heavy questions as well, a little hard questions to you. And the moment you are answering one or two questions in the wrong pattern, it may slightly drop, uh, it may slightly drop, but it will continue its own pattern, right? So if more and more questions are wrong, then it may go and touch up here somewhere, right? That means it will take more time for you. You may have to face more questions here and finally reach to your destination. So this is the CAT format as of now. And we will understand, we will discuss how to how should be your approach while you are when you are attending this CAT approach, okay, in my sessions there. There are total 8 domains in CISSP: security and risk management, asset security, security architecture and engineering, communication and network security, identity and access management, security assessment and testing, security operations, and finally, software development security. So if you logically sit down and try to figure out a particular area which you are covering in your company, definitely it will fall in one of these buckets. So I must assure you, there is nothing which is left out after you complete your training in CISSP or you go through the CISSP content. You will be a master of the subject. You will know all and everything, how the things goes on. Okay, so that's my guarantee to you. Other thing is, which I need to focus here is the overall average weight. So these are the weightage based on which you will face the questions in the exam. They ranges from 15 to 10%, or sorry, 10 to 15% based on different subject. But the bottom line here is you cannot afford to not study any particular domain. You have to go through all the domains. Then only you will be able to achieve your target, right? And as I told you, for a person who want to see his eligibility for CISSP, he should have worked in any of these two domains. So these two domains by itself, they are huge. In themselves, they are huge. They, in one particular domain itself, an enterprise may have 10 to 15 teams, and you may be part of one of that team. So when you are working in that particular team, you are eligible for that particular domain, right? So this is how this is laid out. We'll cover all those things in the training as well, right? CISSP exam outline. Earlier, the pattern was different. In April 2018, they changed the there was some change in the syllabus, and all my training, let it be online, let it be classroom, they're all based on the recent updates from ISC Square. So we strictly follow the certification exam outline, the syllabus which is laid down by ISC Square, right? And guys, this copy is free for everyone. You can go to, I will highly encourage you, go on the ISC2 website, and you just need to provide your email ID and other stuff, and then you can download your own copy for this, and this will help you to have a walkthrough as and when you are thinking, okay, where I stand in my preparation. You can go and refer these particular outline book. So that is going to help you. Once you clear your CISSP certification exam, it is not that automatically you will be certified. You have to undergo a endorsement process. Now, what actually is endorsement? Endorsement is the proof which you are submitting to the company, to ISC Square basically, that I have 5 years of experience, or I do not have 5 years of experience and I want to go for the associate membership. So based on whatever is your endorsement, they are going to validate that and then accredit you with the CISSP designation. Okay. Few of the applications, I would say like 5 to 10 applications out of 100 sometimes are covered under audit. So in case if there is an audit on your application, then it may take a little longer for you to get that CISSP designation, and you may receive an email saying that you need to provide the proof for that. So in that case, you should be having the experience letter from your manager or somebody which you can scan and send up to them. And uh, it's not to that level, right? Only thing is we need to understand we should not be claiming a wrong experience. That is the intent here. Okay. This endorsement process, once you clear your CISSP exam, you can complete within 9 months after passing the exam. And I'm pretty sure nobody even waits for 9 days as well. Very next day we go ahead and do the endorsement process, because CISSP certification achieving itself is a big thing. Now, how to plan? There are a few questions which I used to face from candidates all the time. First and foremost, why choose CISSP? Very basic question. Many people have this question, right? I would say there are other certifications as well in the market, like there is CISM, CRISC, and different, many certifications are available, technical and management perspective. But I would say, guys, out of all these, I have done so many certification, but the happiness and the satisfaction and the respect which I achieved after completing my CISSP, nobody matches to that. Because CISSP is the only certification which will cover each and every corner of security. Otherwise, rest all certification, they are focused either on governance, either they are focused on forensic, or they are covering penetration testing. But guys, no single certification covering all the aspects. So that is why one of the reason CISSP is such a highly regarded certification. It gives you boost. It gives you a lot of boost. It gives you an overall understanding of the security landscape, how actually the security program works, what are the different processes are there, how different framework works and all that. So that's a great learning, I would say. And that is why I suggest you to go for CISSP. Once you achieve it, you yourself will feel what I have achieved, right? Sorry guys. Let's proceed further. What if I don't have the required experience? I think I already covered this. You can go for ISC2 associate membership, and it always carries out the same weightage in terms of putting on resume. People will see you with same respect because you have already cleared the CISSP exam. So nothing to worry about it, right? Then planning and guidance. Many times I see this question from people: how much time is required for preparation? Guys, ideally it depends on you. It depends on how much experience you have, which particular domain you are coming from, what is your grasping power, and more on that, how much is your reading capability. Many of us are now moving to videos. Many of us are like, we don't actually involve too much into reading, wherein reading is a very good habit which we have to generate at least for this certification. You go and see hundreds of videos on CISSP, but until you cover your book line by line, somewhere down the line, at the bottom of your mind, you will not be so satisfied by yourself. So I would say, whatever training you take from anywhere, you must at least have one reading for the book. And this is same strategy which I followed and I guided people on, right? Because after your own reading, you have that level of understanding. Everybody has a different way of learning, right? So that is how it is. Ideally, I would say, if you are targeting for CISSP, don't make it a operation, make it a project. So which goes for unlimited period of time, that is what operation. Many people, they follow operation 90%. Only 10% people, they have a timeline defined. Okay, within these months I have to cover up, and they work on that. That is the only difference between those achieving the CISSP certification and those not achieving the CISSP certification. So I would say it should be based on your experience. 4 to 6 months is the max. Do not plan beyond that. If you say, I am going to clear my certification in 2020, that means you are not prepared enough. You don't know actually what you have to do. You have to have your clear goals. This is what my long term plan. These 4 months, I am how I am going to break it up into terms of domain, into terms of number of pages which I have to cover each and every day. So you need to have that approach, guys. Otherwise, I tell you, if you don't have that kind of attitude with you, this is not the right place for you. Let me be very clear, let me be very honest. CISSP exam, CISSP preparation requires effort, and if you don't want to invest in terms of effort, then definitely you can see for other certifications, right? Next question is how to prepare. Many people are confused on this. What reference material should I refer? What all dump should I refer? All those questions keep coming to me. So I would say, uh, in my CISSP training, I always recommend people to go for Cybex version 8, because as per me, that is the closest match to your CISSP exam, I would say. So you must refer it. You can also refer CBK version 5. That is also a good reference. And some people, they go for Sean Harris, the latest edition they have. But I would say, since Sean Harris is no more, that is not maintained to that level, that particular book, right? So I always strongly recommend people go for Cybex, right? Then next question is, which study material to refer? Again, the same thing, it lays down to that. In a day, I would say you should have a target of completing maybe 10 or 15 pages. If you hate carrying those big books into your office, you can go and purchase an ebook reader or something like that. So while you are traveling by cab or something, you can go through this. So that should also help. Also, I would give you a few videos and audios which you can listen while you are commuting to office. So that will also help to bring to the right perspective to you for security, right? The next question is, do dumps helps? I would say not directly, because in CISSP exam, none of your question which you see on internet will be repeated. Most of the time questions are scenario based questions, at least if not every question, at least I would say uh, 30 to 40% questions, they will be scenario based questions, right? And they are not testing your knowledge actually. Yet they don't want to test you on how much you know. They want to test your ability to take the right decisions. They want to test you in this particular scenario, how you are going to act. So for example, if somebody says uh, there is a misconfiguration in firewall, okay, so many people who are technical in nature, they will go and see what is the inbound rule, what is the outbound rule, why this particular protocol is escaping, which is what feature is enabled, what is not enabled, right? That is from the technical perspective. But from the advisor perspective or from the management perspective, what you will see, you will focus more on the configuration management. Has the configuration management been followed correctly? Because it may so happen that your firewall was working fine, but one fine day there was some change, there was some firmware upgrade which came, and the team implemented it but did not go through the configuration management process. They didn't tested the solution first, and they didn't took the right approval first. They did not communicate it to the right stakeholders at that moment, and then they simply went ahead and updated the firmware. So that's not going to work out. So this is how, what is expectation from you? Expectation is not technical, that you know the inbound rule, you know the outbound rule. CISSP angle is to understand your management perspective, how you are going to act in this particular process, how much streamline you can make the process, how much you can optimize the process as per the situation based on the amount of risk. So these are the kind of thing which actually ISC Square is looking at. But we as technical people, sometimes we do not understand that well, and we get to go more and more into technical things, and finally we are landing nowhere other than frustration. I would say, if you have the right perspective for CISSP, if you have the right attitude, you know what to focus, what not to focus, CISSP is at all not difficult, at all not difficult. Only thing is, you need to have the right mindset, you need to have the right understanding, you need to know what not to know, right? If you have those kind of things, you prepare yourself according to that, not at all difficult, I must say. Okay guys, so that is what. Next question is, people keep on asking me, when should I register for the exam? Guys, there is no definite answer to this. It depends on multiple factors. But if uh, considering all the factors are normal, I would say once you are able to cover your initial 4 domains of CISSP, because is CISSP is a nose down approach. Like once you are traveling in aircraft, if your nose is heavy, right? So your aircraft will go like this. So the same is the case with CISSP. Domain 1 covers your governance and risk management, which is quite a big domain. Domain 3 is all about engineering concept and cryptography, another thing. Domain 4 is all about networking and communication. So these are, I would say, more tough subjects when compared to other subjects. So once you are able to complete your 4 domains, definitely immediately you should go ahead and book the exam. Take how much time it took for you to cover initial 4 domains, same time you can add up to that, plus definitely 15 to 20 days more, not more than that. I think that is the right thing to cover up. Okay. And also you may, in case you are not from the software development background, I would say many questions are also focused on software security, application security and all that. So you can give little bit extra time for those. So this is the approach we should follow. I will never say just go ahead and book your exam and then start preparing. No, CISSP is not that kind of exam. You need to understand yourself, how much you are able to grasp. Is it really the cup of tea for you, right? So better you go and study first to a particular level, then go ahead and book the exam, right? Coming to the next topic. Exam is costly and no retake. Uh, if by chance you are not passing the CISSP exam, all your 53,000 gone forever, right? So be aware of that. But I would say do not demotivate yourself because of that, because the value it is going to bring to your career, whatever money you are investing in one single salary, all things will come back to you. Okay, because that is the enhancement in terms of your earnings you are going to have after CISSP. What you will get after completing your CISSP, this is the reward you are going to get, right? So this is my certification. You can see it expired yesterday, but since I have completed all my CPEs, continual professional education. How do we do that? Over a period of 3 years, we have to cover 120 CPEs. How do you get these CPEs? You may attend some webinar, you may attend some security conference, you may read a security book, or you may doing some training or something like that. That will add up to your CPEs. So you can go ahead on the portal and submit your proofs for that. Okay, I would say like I have over 400 CPs now. I was expected to cover only 120. I have more than 400, and even half of them I have even not registered. So not a great deal to have your CPs done. Okay, then next thing is this is one thing you need to maintain your continual professional educations. Other thing is you need to pay a annual maintenance fees on a yearly basis. Okay, earlier it was $85, now it is $125 per year. This you have to pay every year to maintain your credential. Okay, in case you are a CISSP associate, you need to pay $50, not $125. So this is how after passing the examination we maintain the certification, right? So guys, just a brief, we have covered what actually we need to cover in CISSP, what are the different aspects we cover for going for CISSP. To help you on your journey to CISSP, I have come out with classroom workshops and also for online classes to help you on that. My batch is going to start, my classroom batch is going to start from next week, from March 7th. And I have designed it in such a way that every Saturday you are going to come for the next 5 Saturdays are booked for your CISSP preparation. Why this way? Why not covering it within 2 Saturdays, 2 weekends and all? Because I want you to read the book as well while you are preparing for it. Generally, in any CISSP training, what happens is people, they go and attend the training. First day itself, they are overloaded. Second day, more overloaded. By the time it is third day, you are out of focus. So I don't want that to happen. I want you should be able to digest the entire course in the right manner and focus well, right? So that is what the intent of putting these dates. Exam fees is 20K. We know there are trainings for CISSPs minimum 30,000. I have cut short that that money for you just to help more and more people. To be true, I initially gave a proposal of free training, but that was a little demotivating for me. Why? Because people were not even ready to take their own expenses. Then how can you expect such people they will really study hard and they will invest 53,000 for this certification? So there is no point training those people who are not about serious about it. I want to train only those people who are real passionate on it and who can further clear the exam, and I can proudly say, okay, these are the students which have been taught by me. So that is the overall intent here. So 20K is the amount for this. We have a venue which is booked near Manyata Tech Park, very much approachable from the Ring Road, right? This is a little bit introduction about me, my certifications and all. All you will be getting free study material. You will be getting free study notes, mind maps, all those kind of stuff. It is all available with me. These all is included in your fees. Once training is over, it is not the end of the engagement. It is actually the start of the real journey. I'm going to trace you up, guys. Those people who have done my batches, they know it. How much I trace them, how much I overburden them with different sessions, free sessions on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's obviously you can be part of that. I'm going to give you some regular assignment and followed by free sessions. So assignment, when I say, I may give you, okay, this week you have to cover up these many pages, and these are the topics you have to come prepared with. Okay, so those kind of approach I have in my training classes. um, you can, if you want to register, you find it is worth for you, go ahead and register, because I have limited seats. You have to pay initial amount of 2000 rupees to register yourself. uh, there is a barcode which is provided, just go ahead and pay for that. And you can then go on the Cybernous website, which is my website, join us page, fill up your details. In your remarks column, please mention that I have paid this much, this is my name, this is the transaction ID and all, right? And that is all you are registered for. Okay. I am also coming up with online classes. Those who are not from Bangalore, who are in different parts of the globe, they can join me in this particular initiative. There will be 10 classes which will happen. It may exceed one or two based on situation, right? So each session will be 4 hours session, overall 40 hours of training. Maximum batch size is 10, maximum 10 to 12 kind of people, not more than that, because then the quality of the session goes down. Fees is same, 20,000 rupees only. And these kind of training which also help you to prepare for CISM, CRISC and CISA, both these classroom training and online training, because I am going to cover in such a way that will help you to, even like whenever I am discussing about cloud security, I will discuss a lot about CCSP as well. So that will help you prepare for that. When I am discussing about governance, I will be covering more CSM for you. When I am covering risk, I will be giving you the gist of overall C-risk, right? So these are the kind of expectations definitely you can rely me on for. Okay, and same thing, guys, you need to pay 2000 rupees and all that, the same stuff, right? So guys, I'm going to open this session for another 10 minutes, so that if anybody has any question, we can go through them. And those then who are serious about it, who are real interested, they can continue with this session. I am going to give you a overall journey, what all things we are going to cover up in security in the mid of this particular course, right? So I'm going to unmute all of you. Sorry for the disturbance if you have any, because many people, they may have some background noise and all. Okay.
Things. Now, it is as usual that we get carried away with the fact that, okay, there is some dump available there. We are all from a technical perspective, so we try to look across those questions, those intricacies, and everyone will have some or the other background strength in terms of some or the other domains that he has referred about. And the more interesting the domain background knowledge we have, we try to get more deeper into to those domains. Apart from that, we try to uh, look across in terms of what more that we can learn out of it, and how far more books or more reference materials that we should go through it. This inclination towards learning more and more aspects, at times what happens is we are short of time, and then we try to waste, I would say that, the time in exploring other facts. But after putting in, I just started the journey with Manoj sir in the month of July last year, 2019, and I had planned I would write the exam in the December. But everyone is like into a job, and they'll have some or the other demanding things happening in their organization, or rather family, or whatever it is. So due to some reasons, I just decided or rather, one of the aspect what I was referring to was, apart from the facts that sir had apprised us, okay, go through the cybex and further whatever his guidance, we at times thought, no, why not to refer another things also, maybe Son Harris, maybe another question banks and all those things. So I noticed, in the just to know more, We were like in a way that that confidence level at times what happens once you go through those questions and you are not able to answer those questions, you find you still lack of knowledge which needs to be acquired exams. Now that feeling at what happened is it forced me to postpone my exam further. So I decided why not to post it again by 2 months, so that I have ample amount of time, so that I can revise the complete things within the time bound manner and have a satisfaction within myself that I'm prepared thoroughly. Now I have written the exam on 27th of this February, that is 2 days back, and things were very like fine for me. And after finishing the exams, I just recollected those moments which sir has had said, that what all you have to go through. At times we were also getting into some technical questions which rather people were not satisfied on the mode that if some question talks about some uh, options are there, and then maybe out of those options there is some thing which has been answered, but we have a contradiction towards that, or there would be some or the other apprehensions in our mind. No, why this answer, why not the other option is the right answer. So these all things at times gets us diverted. So after writing the exam, I found there was no point in going through so deep into the technicalities of the exam. As sir has within the presentation, he had said that you don't have to go or rather in other way, what I think Manoj had said, 1 inch deep and 1 mile wide. This is I totally accept, and I endorse that this is true. What the knowledge that we have acquired, the implementation or applying of those knowledge only is required while writing the exam. So not much of technicalities what I could see across in the exam, and it was like touch wood, everything went fine. And after you achieve it, the immense satisfaction that it gives you back is cannot be answered. I hope you can understand.
So guys, you are free to interact with Sujit sir if you have any questions, or you can have some questions from me as well. So we are going to make sure we answer all your questions. I'm going to unmute all for some time, and definitely you can go ahead with that, with your questions. We will start with some basic engineering principle. We call it as secure design principle. These are 33 principles which are categorized into 6 different angles. That is what we are going to discuss. And then internet architecture, how the entire engineering architecture works when it comes to cloud security. What are the different service model? What are different cloud models, deployment models, and all that. Then we will understand from the access control perspective, what are the different engineering models we have in place. So very good names and very different names you may be hearing on this slide: Bell LaPadula, Biba model, Clark Wilson, Chinese wall. So there are some models which we need to cover up. Uh, don't get overburdened with this. I'm going to cover that in a very basic way, so that they will help you to understand everything and you will be able to remember those. Then guys, we are going to discuss from the technology perspective, what is the how your operating system architecture is there, security architecture is there, what is the parameter security, what is the parameter security, what are different rings involved in there, right? So those kind of things we will discuss here. So you can understand, we are going to touch up even operating system security as well. Okay. Then we also discuss about memory configurations, what all different memories are there, what are memory leaks, how it can happen, and all those kind of things. Then we will also discuss about different architecture models, when it comes to client server or those kind of things on a network. Also, we will discuss about ICS systems and SCADA systems. So you can see how much coverage is there. Then little deep dive into the technical part of it. We try to understand cryptography from A, B, C, D. So very good, my favorite subject, and I will make sure going forward this is also your favorite subject. Once we discuss the primary things, basic things about encryption, we will also see the application of those. What is actually public key infrastructure, what is X509 standard, what is digital certificate, and all that. Right? Then I have such kind of demonstration how actually in real world your security digital signature works and all, how your certification works and all, how the certificate revocation list works and all that. Okay. Then your cryptography also houses your hashing, what kind of different hashing things are available, technologies are available, so that you have a very good understanding of those. Then application part, we will also going to discuss about the different protocols, secure protocols, insecure protocols, what is relevant in nowadays, what is not, that also we will understand. Then based on that, what are the key attacks, what are the network attacks, those kind of things. And finally, we are going back to from where we started. We started from some basic engineering principles. We will see those principles again from a physical security perspective. So now you can understand, guys, when we call about CISSP, it is just not digital security, it is physical security as well. You are not going to be the like supervisor of your physical security, but you guys are going to work more closely with the physical security people as well, right, to secure your data centers and your secure locations. So you need to understand this security, physical security world as well. So with that perspective, we have some slides which will give you a good insight in that. Also, we will see if in case your company decides to make a new facility, what is crime prevention through environmental design principle, which we are going to integrate into your facility, how you are going to design it in such a way that by default it prevents crime, right? So those kind of things we will discuss. We are going to the middle of the CISSP here. Domain 4 is again technical, little bit in technical in nature. We are going to discover, we will start from OSI layer to MPLS and all those kind of things. Then we are coming back to communication part and understanding different technologies here. So we will start with IP. We will start with IP version 4, IP version 6. What is a port number? How many ports are there? What is their categories? What for they are? They have these categories and all that. We will understand how the TCP/IP connection is established between two computers, how the handshake happens and all that. What is difference between TCP, UDP, those kind of things. Obviously, we are going to cover OSI layer more in depth from the security perspective, right? And what is the difference between OSI model and TCP/IP model, those kind of things. Then domain name server is such a thing. If the attacker is able to compromise your DNS, your entire thing can go for a toss. So we need to understand what actually is DNS, what are the services provided by DNS, where it is actually vulnerable for, how do we cover up those vulnerabilities, and what are the good practices we should have when it comes to DNS. Okay. Then wireless networks. Now it's a wireless world nowadays. New technologies coming up. These are all fancy technologies coming up. But when we see from security perspective, where do these kind of technologies stand out? What are the different protocols and how it has emerged over its journey? It started with WEP, then WPA. WPA came, then WPA2 came. Now further version has come. So we will understand these things more in detail. Okay, guys, just a small confirmation. You guys are able to hear me well? Just let me know. Okay, great, great. It's not boring, right? Because I am covering too much of stuff in just 1 hour. So be there with me, bear with me. It's not going to be covered so fast. We will go and touch every corner in detail when we have detailed sessions on that, right? Then, guys, let me proceed further. We will also discuss what is MPLS, what is voice over protocol, what is the session initiation protocol, how it has changed the entire world of VoIP and all those kind of things. So, lot to learn, lot to learn here. Okay. We will also understand what if two packets they collide with each other. How it happens that this kind of collision is prevented when into a Ethernet thing, and how the packet collision is prevented in wireless technology. So we will also understand from that perspective. Then we will also discuss about cellular networks, secure MIME, and Internet Protocol Security, IPsec. IPsec is very important, right? We will discuss about authentication header, then ESP, then ISAC MP, then IKE, and those kind of stuff, right? So that give you a very good understanding of the thing for the remote sessions and all. We will also discuss about network segmentation and why network segmentation is such an important subject now, right? Because it may so happen that you are not known to that much of security infrastructure. People are not that careful about security, and they are hosting their web server and their database server in the DMZ. God helps them. Only God can help them in nowadays, right? So, as a security professional, we need to understand where they are doing wrong. What actually is the expected segmentation which should be there. We will also understand different technologies like NAT and PAT. Okay, uh, these are just a few I'm just naming. Otherwise, whatever comes to your mind, everything is there here, right? We will also discuss about firewalls. What is the basic principle of a firewall? What are the different generation of a firewall? What is next generation firewall? All things we will cover up here. How do you monitor your ingress and egress filtering in your company? How do you control that traffic? How do you monitor that traffic? And if some people have problems with that, because people may have their privacy related expectations on that, then for that, what we need to do, we need to have acceptable use policies and those kind of things in place, right? So we will see from all angles, from technology specific and management perspective. IDS, IPS, very important for detection purpose and prevention purpose. For any intrusion which happens into your company, we are going to tear them apart, and we are trying to see what all different the security basics, security principles on based on which IDS and IPS works upon. Okay, then we also will discuss what is honeypots. This is another very important subject, right? So honeypots, I will cover when we have sessions on that. And then what are different network connectivity devices, what are good things about them, what is bad things about them, transmission medium, uh, different terms which you might have came across earlier as well: throughput, signal strength, inception capability, environment, EMI, RFI, all those kind of stuff we are going to cover. VoIP security, VPN connections, mobile device management, MDM solutions, those kind of new technologies which are coming up, we will discuss. We will also discuss from a network perspective how actually an attacker try to gain access to your network. What are the different things he need to do to achieve access to your environment? So they follow a standard methodology, which is you can see described here. We will cover that up in the training as well. We will again go back to OSI and again see from different attacks what kind of sniffing can happen on each and every layer. That we are going to discuss. We are also going to discuss a lot many different types of attacks like MITM and other kind of evil tower kind of attacks. when it comes to wireless, right? Also botnets, how the botnets entire thing works. All right. And finally, if somebody asks you what kind of approach you are going to take to prevent these kind of network problems, network attacks, then I must say you need to follow a unified approach. And that is why you might have seen earlier time we used to have separate firewall, we used to have separate antivirus, we used to have separate routing and other things, right? And not many things, filtering and all. Now everything is coming together and converging into one particular device called as unified threat management. So that is how the things need to be converged, so that there is a correlation between events and we are able to identify any kind of intrusion in a much effective way. So that's few things we are going to cover up. Whew. Now domain 5. Domain 5, all about your identity and access management. Identity and access management, I would say, is the first and foremost security control you should have in your company. That is your first line of defense, right? Now identity and access management is a huge domain by itself, and in this particular domain we are going to tear it apart, at least not from a very technical perspective, at least from understanding high level what are the different things which are involved into this, right? To make our basis strong for that, we need to understand what is access and what is access control, what is a data subject, sorry, what is a subject, what is an object, and those kind of stuff. Then we will understand if a new employee joins a company, then what identity he need to get. To get those identity, what is the process which we need to follow, why we need to have different teams in place to take on these different things, why not one person single-handedly accepting the request, validating the ID, creating an email ID, sending the password to the user. Why not one person? So we will understand from all that perspective. Then we will understand the basics of authentication. What are the different factors of authentication? What you know, what you have, what you are, and how do they apply in the identity access management domain, right? And guys, we are going to discuss a lot about biometric devices and what condition you should have what kind of biometric device. It will help you to make some decisions based on a few concepts. Okay. And obviously, what is authorization creep, access control list, default zero principle, and all that. We are also going to discuss about identity management implementation. We are going to discuss about different standards like X500, X400, LDAP, Active Directory, and then we will dive up into SSO. Now, what is SSO? SSO, I think you all may be knowing. Company may have 20 different portals. If you ask your employee to create an account on these 20 different websites, real difficult. Company need to implement one single solution to enhance security. How do they do that? They bind everything with their Active Directory, right? So that in the morning when you go at work, authenticate yourself, get authorized from the Active Directory, and rest. Whenever you open, whenever you need to print, whenever you need to go to some website, you don't need to authenticate by yourself. It should take authentication directly from Active Directory. How is that made possible? What are the different standards which help us, like SAML 2.0, OAuth, those kind of things, right? We will also understand, for example, your company takes up a subscription for its employees from Microsoft, like Microsoft Office 365 subscription, right? Now, obviously, your company will never want that your user ID data should go to Microsoft. That's a breach of privacy, first and foremost, breach of security, another thing. Now, how do we work in this situation, right? So we need to implement something called as federated identity management. All the IDs remains at your place only. As and when you request some service from Microsoft, that is the service provider. Your enterprise is the enterprise ID provider. Microsoft will come back to you, take the authentication done at your premise only, take that authentication authorization token, and based on that authorization, it will provide some services to you. So that is how the federated identity is all about. A lot of things. This is just a high level, guys. What are different access control model? We will discuss. It's for some of them, these may be entirely new things, but you need to understand those guys. What is discretionary access control, mandatory access control, role-based access control, rule-based access control, attribute-based access control? Nowadays, we have a new concept which has emerged, right? Zero trust security, right? Even not in CISSP, but I will also try to throw some light on that as well, so that you are much more confident when you go for the exam, right? We will also understand how the remote sessions are maintained or controlled, how the network infrastructure is controlled by radius server, TechAct server, diameter, and all those kind of things. So that's also very interesting, right? Then what is accountability and known repudiation? How do we counter that? How the session management happens? What are the different loopholes which can happen in the session management? Those kind of stuff. So it's just an overview, guys. We are going to tear it apart. Truly, I'm telling you. Okay. Domain 6 is all about security assessment and testing, right? Security assessment and testing. So assessment is examination and testing is validation of that, right? So we'll understand from different perspective. We will understand why actually you need a security assessment and testing program. Then what are different assessments are there? Vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, what all different kind of penetration testings are available: white box, gray box, black box, and how they are achieved, what is the overall target of that. For example, your company developed a particular software or is in the process of developing a particular software. What all different testings you need to do, how it will go up, how you will roll out that software after the implementation, what all testing will go before you roll out the particular software, right? So those perspective also we will see. How the log management need to be done. It's quite challenging, guys. Log management is a very challenging activity. Why? Because you have now thousands and lakhs of network devices which are there to prevent you from any security threat. But all these devices are also generating a huge amount of logs. Guys, just give me 1 second. My battery is draining out. Just give me a second. You can chat me if you have any questions, guys. Till then. Can you just give me a confirmation if everything going well? My voice is audible, sound and sweet, those kind of things. Okay, great, great. Great, thanks for the confirmation. So let's continue where we were. So we were discussing about log management. That's very much important, right? Challenge here is all the network devices, all the systems on the network, they generate a huge amount of logs. How you are able to manage those logs, what management practices you need to follow, how you are going to scan those logs in real time, that's another issue. How you are going to implement a particular SIM, what expectation you should have from SIM, what is the role of automation and orchestration. So all those kind of things we will discuss. Then key performance and key risk indicators are very important, and again very important for any service organization that we have SOC reports. So what is SOC 1, what is SOC 2, what is SOC 3 reports? We need to discuss on that, and we will discuss and tear them apart. So that is how this domain goes all about. Then we head into the domain 7. which focuses on security operation. This is where the actual meat of things come in. Most of us may be there in security operations itself. How the things are laid down here, right? First and foremost, every company should have a very good detection mechanism to detect any kind of threat. And once we have those detection done, then the company also need to have very good incident response procedure in place. Okay. What are the different major categories of computer crimes? We've also discussed about forensics, what actually is an evidence, what are the different principles of an evidence, those kind of things we will discuss. What is chain of custody, type of evidence, what is the investigation process, what is interrogation, what is the difference between interrogation and interviewing, all those kind of stuff, how your SIM should be configured and all that. Lot of things to discuss, guys. It's a really very vast domain, right? We will also understand how DLP works, what is steganography, what is digital marketing, uh, from the resiliency side, what is operational resiliency, how we can enhance resiliency, where all we need to have resiliency, those kind of things. What are the different type of accounts there in your company? It may be a normal user account, it may be a privileged user account. How do you maintain your privileged accounts? How do you control them? This is how we are going to discuss in that, right? Uh, Commonly used roles in security operations. We also need to set some agreements. If your company is outsourcing some piece of work to a third party, then we need to have some SLAs which need to be defined to ascertain a particular service level. What all different controls we have, which are kind of security principles which we can discuss, like personal security controls, mandatory vacations, uh, segregation of duties, and those kind of stuff, right? Then a type of virtualized storage. We are going to touch each and everything, guys. We are starting from direct access storage to SANs. What is the difference in there? How SAN is different from NAS, and how things are taken care in cloud. So we touch upon these technologies from the very basic, even though it is little bit in accidents from what we have in CISSP. CISSP don't talk much about it. They only talk about good practices, but we will try to understand actually what is the basics of this technology, and then I will let you know what are the best practices. Patch management, very important, right? 2017 WannaCry hit the industry, then NetPetya, all that. Many companies suffered because their patching was not that effective, right? There was a latency in there. So why actually companies are striving? Why hundreds of people are working for patch management in a company? Why is it so important? What are the good practices we can implement for patch management? How change management is connected with patch management? So all those kind of stuff we will discuss. Vulnerability management, another very important aspect, because vulnerability management comes into operation. It's an ongoing activity. We run some kind of scans which will scan your port on the network, come out with some vulnerability, tag those vulnerability, classify those vulnerability. Based on that, we need to prioritize the risk, and we need to treat those kind of vulnerability. So entire vulnerability management life cycle we will understand. We will also understand why change management is so important when it comes to security operations, why configuration management is so important, and what basically is the difference. People sometimes I see confused in what is change management and what is configuration management. So we will try to understand what exactly is the difference in these two management processes. Then we will also try to understand what is disaster recovery, what is RAID, on what principle is RAID designed, and what are the different kind of RAIDs, right? Then for effectiveness and resiliency purpose, what all backup procedures are there? What kind of backup strategy as a security professional you will suggest for your system admins based on your business requirement? So if you understand things well, that will definitely help you to make a decision on that, right? So we will understand from that perspective. And finally, guys, we come to domain 8. It is the last domain in CISSP. software development security. So we start with some basic project management things. As and when a new project comes to you, what management activities which happens, you need to collect requirements, you need to find out functional requirement, you will then identify what all controls it need to have, then you will make a design, then those designs you will review with different teams, have some team meetings with them or code review with them, and then you start working on the software. So that is how it is laid down, right? Then we also discuss about different software development models. Okay, it includes your waterfall model. uh, just a minute. Okay, it includes your waterfall model, spiral model, incremental model, life cycle models like agile model and all. What is the difference? What is Scrum? What is Scrum Master and all that? So lot of things to learn, guys. We will also go to the depth of programming languages. We will try to understand what is machine language, assembly language, high level language. Seems to be very basic. We might have read those things in class 12th as well, but here we are taking it from a security perspective, from a different perspective altogether. Now, then what is SecOps? What is DevOps? So those kind of things also we are going to understand. What are different types of software? In what are the different categories of software which are available? That also we will cover. We will cover about threats in the software environment. What is API? What are the different risks which are associated with APIs? How do we manage software failures? How the things are taken care in Java, how things are taken care in ASP.NET, those kind of things we will discuss. Then we will fall back to distributed environment, distributed applications. Now, once you go to makemytrip.com, for example, you see, you just put up the dates, when to when you need the flight, and you will see all different flights coming on there. How it is made possible? Right, so this is a perfect example of a distributed application, because data is being processed not on your computer, data is being processed on another system, and the result is fetched to you, and it is just acting as an interface to give you the outcome. So very interesting things. We will discuss a lot of technologies out there. What is RPC? What is CORBA? What is COM? What is DCOM? What is RMI? What is EJP? What is service-oriented architecture? And AJAX and all that. Right? Very, very interesting. For you, it may be, for some of you, it may be entirely new journey to learning new things. Okay. Then we will also discuss software testing. What is SAST, what is DAST. So that is also we are going to learn about. Then we will also go into database side, and we will understand what is knowledge based system, what is relational databases, what is the ACID model. It's a very famous model for all the databases, ACID model, right? So we will understand that. And that is how, guys, it is all laid down. You can understand in 1 hour I am continuously speaking, and this is very high level, very, very high level. We will go and tear each and every corner of it in my training, right? So coming back to training part again, guys, uh, just to make you aware, we have these dates for classroom training. Venue is near Manyata Tech Park. From next week, we are going to start. I have designed it in such a way that you get sufficient time for preparation. I would recommend you take a book. I will share all the study material. I will provide you free of cost, and you start preparing it every week. Every week, prepare these domains and come. Like that kind of thing, we will implement in there. So if you follow me rightly, if you follow my guidelines, I am pretty sure next 3 months you are going to break this particular certification. I am pretty sure about it. Okay. And there is a registration process which you need to follow. You need to do an advance payment of rupees 2000 through this barcode. You can just transfer it from your Google Pay or UPI, whatever account you have. Then write to me on support@cybernous.com. Okay. Same people who are not from Bangalore, who are from different part of the world, they can also register and send a mail to me. So they will be part of our online trainings. Guys, seats are now limited. uh, I am seeing more than half of the seats are full, so I recommend you guys that you give it a priority if you are making your mind to do CISSP. And that is all, guys, for this session. I open this session for some question and answer.